Okay guys, I'm going to do a quick instructional video here on how to blend oil pastels. And this is an oil pastel that I did based on Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night. You can see here that I blended colors together. I've mixed white with blue and white with purple to create a tint of the color, and I've also made some shades by mixing black with those colors. And mostly I worked in cool colors, and in a few spots I used a few warm colors, like those little stars have the oranges and the reds in them, and then down here the tree has some yellow in it. But for the most part I worked in cool colors because that's just what I prefer to do. I drew this picture and made copies of it for my students in case they want to color it themselves, and I have colored it in with student grade oil pastels. I've used mostly these Sargent 25 pack. They're about $2.50 I think for a pack of 25. You can buy them in larger packs like 50, and I think they're around $5. So it's a really inexpensive way to do a painting. Alright, what I'm going to show you next is how to do this on a heart, because my students this week are going to be working on hearts, and I found these lovely examples online of some artist hearts, and there's a little bit of glare there so you can't see it as well. Let me see if I can get it. Okay, this is a heart that I found on Leah Vandenbush's website. It was on her school website called greenbayartroom.blogspot.com, and she had 3 or 4 different examples of these particular hearts that you can do, and they have lots of patterns on them, colors. They kind of have a cubist feel to them, like Picasso, and they also have a little bit of that Jim Dine look with the painterly feel that they have with the mixture of the colors together. So we're going to do these with oil pastels. For the younger students, I have made a copy of this heart, and I just basically drew it with a Sharpie marker, and then I printed it out on construction paper. We have a copier that'll do that. So I printed it out on the construction paper, and I just divided the heart into sections so it has that cubist feel to it, so they could do each section individually. And what I'm going to encourage them to do is to blend these hearts in and create patterns with them. So first thing you want to do is kind of lay down a color, whichever color you want. And I'm going to recommend that they use some complementary colors, and also that they use some really fun patterns to do these hearts. And the older kids, I'm probably going to let them draw their own hearts with pencil and then go back in and color them how they'd like to. And you can kind of get like a stained glass effect right here if you blend in your colors together, your oranges and your yellows. And if you look on the color wheel, the colors that are right next to one another are the ones that are going to blend really well together. Those are what we call analogous colors, and the ones that are completely across the color wheel from each other look really good next door to each other, beside each other. Those are called complementary colors. Okay, now when you take one color and you add white to it or black to it, that's called monochromatic. Sometimes we do this and we create a painting or something like that with just one color as the theme, like orange or blue or something like that, and you just add whites and blacks to it to make it lighter or darker. In this case, I'm going to add a little bit of white to this yellow, and sometimes your white will get dirty when you're working with it, so you need to take it and clean it off on a paper towel. And that's what I'm doing right here. You just take it and rub it on the paper towel. You can write on the paper towel to clean it off. You can see how the tip has gotten dirty. Or you can take both hands and kind of rub it with one hand and twist it in the paper towel, and that'll clean it off also. Now, that's how the warm colors look. And I think for this particular heart, I'm going to do warm colors on the heart and then cool colors in the background. So I think right here I'm going to do some dark blue to contrast with the warm colors, because that will look really good together. They're complements, so they're really going to make each other pop. Let me see if I can hold this steady. I'm trying to do this one-handed, and I'm used to having 2 hands. Okay, so I'm just going to color this in, and I'm coloring kind of hard to go ahead and lay down that color where I want it, and then I may go softer And I'm using a slightly textured resume type paper for this to kind of have a little bit of tooth so it'll grab onto the oil pastels. Okay, and there is what I'm doing right now. Okay, now next step, I'm going to add some white to it because I want to blend it together. Now your neutrals like white and black and brown and gray, they will pretty much mix with anything. And that's how you can blend them together. And you can see it looks a lot like paint because it is. It's basically just a paint crayon, an oil paint crayon. They do have more expensive varieties that you can get, oil paint sticks and that sort of thing. But these student grade ones work really well, and especially when you're just learning. They're really fun to work with. So you can do something like that. And that's how you blend your colors together. Now if you want to go back and add a pattern to this, you can. If you need to go back and write your name on top of the oil pastels, you can draw right into the oil pastels, which is something that I really like to do sometimes. Because it looks really cool. If you want to take a pencil and you can draw designs into it, say you want to do swirls, you can do that kind of like a Starry Night, Vincent Van Gogh kind of thing. And then you can take another color and darken that up. Let me see if I've got that in the frame. Okay, you do it just like that with your pencil. You can draw right into it, it's fun. Alright, and once you've got that, you can go back with another color and darken it up, like this black. And it will write right onto this oil pastel that you've already got down there. If you don't want to go over it with black, you could just leave it in the pencil and you'll still have your design on there. Or you could do a completely different color. But you have to be careful because if you use complementary colors on this stage, sometimes they'll mix together and they'll make a yicky brown. So you have to kind of watch that. Now if you color over your black lines at the end, if you want to go over your black lines again, you can with your black oil pastel, like so. But you want to do that at the very end because when you're trying to mix these colors together, it will pull the black in and make them very dark, unless you want that effect. If you want that effect, that's fine, go ahead and use your black. But that's basically how you do this. And when you get finished, you'll have a really pretty heart. I'm going to do my heart all in warm colors. And I'll do my background all in cool colors. And I may do another video to let you know how some of these turn out once my students start working on them. As always, you can check artsonia.com to see some examples of some student works. And I may put a link on the bottom once I have some student works uploaded so that you can see how this project turned out. God bless.